Hi, my name is Harvey and welcome to my channel. Yay! This is gonna sound like some awkward high view interview. If you've ever done those, you know the pain. But I promise that throughout these videos or series, whatever I'm doing, I will get better and the videos will become better themselves. I'm just kind of doing this to make myself accountable and also document kind of my journey. I kind of want it to be as authentic as I can possibly make it because I don't know what I'm doing and that's kind of the fun of it. So I guess you can watch along. So imagine it's 2011 and you've just heard about Bitcoin. You think it's all a load of rubbish and you just don't decide to invest. Fast forward 10 years and now it's worth like almost 100k. That could be me. Maybe. So if you want to watch along and see if I crash and burn, go ahead. Or if I become the next, who knows, next me, next me, then yeah, thank you. I should mention that this is kind of about me building a clothing brand and kind of that whole process. So, and also some other things. So yeah, let's just get into it. Yeah, I think for now I'm probably just gonna mess around on Illustrator, see if I can just like create a few t-shirt designs. I think I want to create like a vintage ringer tee type of thing. I don't really want to create just like a t-shirt and slap a logo on it. So we're gonna see what that looks like. The thing is with Illustrator, first of all, I don't really know how to use it that well, and also, you know when you have like a vision in your mind and drawing these like vector images, it does not translate to what is in my head. So whenever I'm designing this shit, it never truly looks like how I wanted it to look like. I guess that's kind of why you have to use a lot of reference pieces and images in the tech pack, things like that. Yeah, at this point I just need to bash out a load of different designs and kind of see what I want to do anyway. So it's almost 20 to 8 and we have made outstanding progress. I have sat here for about the last hour just staring at my screen pretty much. So yeah, great work. I don't know what's going. What am I doing? What am I saying? This is the power of editing. I'm gonna just cut all this stupid shit out. Maybe I'll leave it in. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, we're gonna reverse. We're gonna go on Pinterest and try and get some inspiration. On a little side note, I have acquired a lovely cup of tea and a nice little scone because I am British and this is what we do. This is how we keep going. We keep calm and carry on. That's our life motto. So as you can see, I have collated quite a few different items that I think are kind of cool, to be honest. Not all of them are ringer tees, but I think I've got a good variety of t-shirts, colours, styles and like fitting to kind of give me that initial inspiration. So I've finally managed to actually mock up a few designs that I don't completely hate. I did say previously that I didn't just want to slap a logo on it. Yeah, it's kind of what's happened, but game's a game. I'm officially a hypocrite, and do I care? No, not really. It has very much taken a big inspiration from Acne Studios, but that's okay, It's still different in its own way. I think it's got enough like kind of variation to not be like a carbon copy. I mean, there's always room for innovation, don't get me wrong, and unique ideas and perspectives and things like that, but I feel like with the t-shirt, at least with a basic t-shirt, which is all that I would kind of want to do. There's only so many things you can do in the confinement of just a blank t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna mess around a lot with the colors. I think that's something I can really come through on, like, and make it unique. Or just like the little small details, like the label at the back on the neck. I kind of want to do some cool stuff for that. So I've just finished work. I work from home, so fortunately I don't really have to commute or anything except to my office. But I'm just meal prepping right now, and then gonna head to the gym and try and do a bit more work later on this evening. I think all I'm really gonna do again is just kind of mess around with the designs, feel like, yeah, just see what I'm liking. I think I made a good start yesterday. I just want to mess around a lot with the different colors. Like I was saying, it's really difficult to kind of visualize what you want the garment to look like, especially just on Illustrator. So like, I had a few ideas on my head, but I don't know if I can actually translate them or find the things that I want them to look like online on Pinterest and stuff like that. I've also been using this app called, I think it's called Cosmo or Cosmos, which is kind of similar to Pinterest, but it's slightly different. I feel like you can kind of search a bit more with like moods and vibes. So I'll see if I can find any more like different interesting things on that. But yeah. So we are back, but it is absolutely freezing in this bloody office. Not to threat though, because we have a cup of tea, and hopefully that shall warm me through this painful long night. As I was saying earlier, I think I'm just gonna go back and mess around with the colours. I think also mess around with the typography that I was using. As I said before, a lot of the t-shirt's inspiration was from that Acne Studios t-shirt. So without it looking too much like that, I've got to kind of make it unique in its own way. There are already elements that are unique about it, like it being a ringer tee first of all. That is also like a level above it. Not a level above it, I don't want to say it's better, but you know what I'm saying, like something different. And also that thing like Virgil used to say, so I think everyone kind of took it out of proportion and like use it as an excuse to kind of copy brands and saying, oh, I've changed it by like 4%. I think that's what he was saying. So that's not what I want to do. I don't want to just like take something and change it slightly. I want it to be just unique in its own way. It can very much have the same DNA as something or inspiration. I feel like I found some decent inspiration. I'd say kind of from the beginning of the brand, I always kind of wanted to infuse like some sort of British element into the clothing. I felt like obviously being born and raised here is quite an important part of, I guess, just who I am really. So I always kind of wanted to make that somewhat clear within the clothing that I make, or at least just have little bits of hints of it here and there. So I was watching Alexander McQueen's I think 2001 runway show for like the women's ready to wear, and towards the end of it, obviously they come out at the end, normally the designer comes out and, you know, they applaud them, whatever, and funnily enough he was also wearing like a ringer tee. So I thought that was kind of like perfect inspiration for what I'm kind of doing. And so yeah, with him being such like an iconic British designer, I feel like it's kind of a nice way to honour that and pay homage to what he did for British fashion and just fashion in general, really. So what I've done really is kind of just taken the colours of that t-shirt and kind of mixed it in with the other design elements that I'm already going with. So this t-shirt here, right, what I can do is kind of play on how I want to subvert what they've done here. I mean, as you can see, they've done like a lot of distressing and stuff around that, and I feel like, and even on the text and stuff, it's clearly like faded, as well as the t-shirt is washed in a way that it looks very vintage, and I do really like the vintage kind of vibe and look. I guess the way I can make it my own really is kind of by messing around with these small little details like that. So, but it's like, do I want to keep the fading here? I think I definitely want to go for like a vintage look within the tee, especially since ringer tees are quite, I believe they're from like the 70s, so they're all really quite vintage as it is. And yeah, I can kind of play on this by, do I take a purely modern approach and keep it nice and clean, which kind of goes against the backdrop of like a, you know, a pretty staple ringer tee, I'd say. Or do I perhaps try different washes on the t-shirt? I don't think I want to do the distressing, as much as I think it looks nice there. I'm not sure that's something I want to do. I do kind of apologise for how shit the quality of these vlogs will be. I guess some of the difficult parts of doing this whole journey is that, like I said earlier, that I'm quite a perfectionist, so a lot of the things I want to do or envision, I just simply cannot do because I don't know how to do them. I don't have like the knowledge, the skills, anything like that. So like for me right now, the filming of this vlog, I'm just using like the back of my iPhone 13 because I don't want to use the front facing camera because it's probably quite shit. But like I would take a lot of inspiration normally from kind of like the films I watch. But, well, first of all, I didn't even have a bloody tripod or anything, so I do kind of need to invest in that. That's why, like, if you watching this, then you realise I'm always doing it from this angle, but simply because the light is coming from here, and I guess from this direction it's probably shit. And that's also why I haven't done any, like, time lapses of the work I'm doing, because I don't want to be holding my phone like that the whole time. But that's okay, that's kind of just like the process. And I think as well, a lot of the time you overestimate the abilities of like what a singular person can do. And what I mean by that is when you look at all these other brands, not even just brands, companies, people, just in general, it's never just one person really. It's always like a group of people working together, and normally typically like one person gets a lot of the credit, but most of the good things that come out in life are done by a group, you know what I'm saying? So I need to keep that in mind. Hello, I am back. I didn't manage to get any work done yesterday because I went to the cinema, and today after work I went to meet my friends to play a bit of pool, and after I came back I hit the fattest TikTok session. So yeah, things don't really go as planned, so to make up for that now I am basically just gonna mess around. I keep saying mess around, I'm messing around for everything, aren't I? I'm gonna test out a bunch of different colorways for the t-shirt. I don't know whether I should do a bunch of other t-shirt designs as well, and then narrow it down from what I like. That's probably the best idea, but I'm quite happy with what I've got right now. But it's probably stupid to just make one thing and then go all in on that, so I probably should do that. So I'll make the colorways first. Depending on how many I want to make, I think maybe like 2 to 3 colorways is all that I would go for right now. And then maybe I'll do another t-shirt or maybe a shirt. I'd like to do a shirt, to be honest. I feel like with a shirt there's a lot more variety, I feel like, within a shirt compared to a t-shirt, like fabric wise, patterns and things like that. So I think maybe I would try out some things with that. Also, I've got a new chair, pretty sick, and it has like a footrest you can pop up, which is pretty sick as well. It's better than the old chair because that shit was like peeling apart so bad. Every time you sat on it, basically you'd get up and the chair would still be with you. So this is a big improvement. Sorry about that, guys. I kind of forgot to record what I was doing the last few days. So essentially all I've been doing is experimenting with different colorways for the t-shirts, learning how to do effects on the text and stuff, see if I can make it give like a more of a vintage or kind of worn in effect. So I've been trying to learn how to do that on Illustrator. I've also just been searching up like the fabric side of things, like what type of fabrics are best to use, specifically for how to wash the garment in terms of perhaps like enzyme wash, things like that, so that I can give it kind of like that worn in appearance and kind of just make the t-shirt have a bit more going for it and like a bit more, I guess, artistic direction instead of just being like a plain t-shirt with a bit of branding on it. Also, I realized I was filming stuff, you know, just like on my computer with my phone, and I kind of forgot that. Why would I do that when I can just record my laptop? So what I need to do is find a recorder that will not blow my laptop up while I'm using Illustrator, because it's already a struggle. Like, I swear to God, if this is like gaming, I'd be getting like 2 frames per second on Illustrator, but we're making it work. So I'm just gonna kind of go through the design process, I guess, kind of what I was just getting up to. Again, a lot of the inspiration does come from this, I think fairly recent, a couple of years ago, it came out, this Acne Studios t-shirt, and also this Comme des Garçons shirt from 1995, I guess, the spring summer collection. So they ultimately were like a large part of the inspiration for the graphic part of the t-shirt. And then as I was doing more research, kind of just like watching fashion shows and stuff, I did, like I said, kind of stumble upon the 2001 show by Alexander McQueen. And with it being me being in like a British brand, didn't specifically know what I wanted to do, but I know that I wanted to incorporate some sort of British like inspiration into the t-shirt. As you can see here, I was messing around with like brand tags. This is always like the regular one that I was using for other designs. I was just messing around with like the colors, obviously the blue and the red, and also just a Union Jack. I don't think I would use that, although I think it's kind of nice. I added that, like, if you can kind of see the texture behind it as well, but I don't know, I feel like it kind of makes the garment look not as clean. I don't know. If anyone's watching this, maybe let me know. None of this is finalized. I was just messing around with the different typographies, different fonts, whatever. So I was wondering, do I add a bit of a twist to like the England part, making it so that it's not all just one font? I don't really like the underlining. I would just get rid of that. And then on this one, I was trying to mess around with, I guess, kind of just making it like a bit more imperfect, adding some warm kind of like faded textures to it. But in terms of the colorway, I do actually really like this one, the red and the blue. Again, the colors of the Union Jack. Same with this one. I think this one's kind of fun, to be honest. You don't really see too many Ringer t-shirts with like 3 different colors. They're all typically the same 2 colors, if you know what I mean. So I think that's kind of a nice way. This one's quite one of my favorites as well, the black with an even darker logo. I was thinking perhaps something with that could be like a different kind of material for the print. I don't know specifically how that would work, but maybe like a shiny material. But I think that could be cool to experiment with the print on the t-shirt. Oh yeah, you can see with this one, rather than having like the stitching going across, this was like another piece of fabric, I guess, that separates and adds a bit of extra color and depth to the t-shirt. So I think that's something I might explore into. Thank you to everyone for watching this first video. So that includes my girlfriend, some of my family, and probably me just watching it over, you know, and maybe that one random person that's watched it to the end. But I appreciate you. I think I'm gonna try to make this into like a weekly or bi-weekly series. It takes way longer than I thought it would to edit these, even though I've basically got nothing like special, crazy, whatever happening in them. And also just like there's nothing that crazy going on in my life right now in terms of building this brand. I guess this is all kind of the boring stuff, but I will try to keep as much documented as I possibly can, really. Maybe it will be weekly so that I'm more accountable, but yeah, thank you.